Hello, and welcome back to the Catholic Cemeteries Association's video series on pre-planning. In today's episode, we're going to explore the second step of the burial planning process, selecting a burial type. We offer 3 burial types at the Catholic Cemeteries Association: cremation, full body, and natural, which is only available at All Souls Chardon. So today's episode is going to focus primarily on traditional burials. Do you mind telling us a little bit more about those?
Sure. As you stated, the most common burial type is the traditional burial type, or otherwise known as the casket or full body burial. Let's start off with the in-ground burial process for a traditional burial. It first starts by the body being laid into a casket, and then that casket is laid into what we refer to as a burial vault or outer burial container.
There are many options to consider when choosing an outer burial container or burial vault. Two most common types, Paige, are cement or steel. There are many options that are available to individuals and families, but again, I would recommend sitting down with a family service representative so they can go over all the available options.
And then the casket and the burial container are then obviously placed physically into the grave. The grave is then backfilled with soil. And then last, that particular grave is memorialized with either a headstone or an upright marker. And Paige, if you're considering full body above ground burial options, you can either decide to do crypts either in a community or family mausoleum, or you can do crypts in a community or family sarcophagi.
So Brian, why would someone choose a full body burial over cremation or natural burial?
Well, obviously, Paige, it's personal preference, but the other factors include a full body burial most closely follows the burial of Jesus Christ. Also, full body burial provides a permanent gravesite, which allows for regular visitation. And then last, it allows for traditional funeral and mourning rituals.
So Brian, you mentioned that there are in-ground options and above-ground options for the full body burial. What is the difference between those?
Well, it differs in terms of your processes and steps. So when you're considering an in-ground burial option, I like to say there's 5 parts. Obviously, the physical grave itself, the land. There's a casket, obviously. There's the outer burial vault or burial container that we talked about. There's the opening and closing of that particular grave. And then there's the memorialization options. Again, either a headstone or, if that particular section allows, an upright memorial. In above ground burial options, there's 4 parts to consider. Obviously, the crypt, either in the mausoleums options or sarcophagi options. There is the casket, there's the opening and closing of that particular crypt, and then there's the inscription, on the granite front.
Paige, once again, I want to state that all 8 of our cemetery office locations have an FSR, or a family service representative, able and willing to meet with individuals and families about all the specific details and questions they might have regarding the burial planning process. It's vitally important that folks get in contact with an FSR at the cemetery of choice, and you take advantage of their expertise and knowledge and sit down and gather all the necessary information so that folks can feel very comfortable about making and pre-planning their burial.
Thank you, Brian, for joining us and telling us a little bit more about the full body burial option. Join us next time where we will discuss the burial option of cremation.